From the Cronkite studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
Arizonan protesters were arrested at the Capitol today with cries like Trump care kills. Our Washington Bureau brings you a first-hand account of the events.
The National Council of La Raza wants to increase Latino voter turnout in Arizona, what the group is doing to encourage people to rock the vote.
So, President Trump has made blocking people kind of the wave of the future.
Why Arizona legislators are blocking constituents on social media and people are confused.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Blakely McHugh.
And I'm Tyler Finger. Thank you for joining us. Opponents of a Senate health care reform bill continue to put pressure on lawmakers today. 150 protesters fanned out across Capitol Hill to stage sit-ins and risk arrest at the offices of targeted Republican senators. One of those targeted was Arizona Senator Jeff Flake. Cronkite News reporter Emma Lockhart was there when activists from Arizona showed up. She joins us live from our D.C. bureau.
The protest today outside Senator Jeff Flake's office comes after days of several demonstrations at his Phoenix office last week. Now today, 18 protesters traveled from Arizona to share their stories about their medical problems and how they think the current bill will only make things worse. This was the scene outside Senator Jeff Flake's office today. Activists traveled from Arizona to protest the Republican health care bill, a bill they say could strip away coverage they desperately need.
If this bill passes, it could kill me.
Lauren Klinkhammer says she has 16 chronic illnesses. She believes those pre-existing conditions could make her ineligible for coverage under the current version of the bill, a reality she says she couldn't bear.
Multiple times I've wanted to die, like seriously worried about killing myself because I can't do it again. I can't. It was hell that I went through. You have no idea what I went through waiting so long.
Samantha Coronado helped bring together the group of protesters for an issue that hits close to home.
My mom, my little sister, my grandma, my grandpa, my aunts and uncles, they would all lose health care.
After entering Flake's office, sharing their stories and banding together on the ground, the protest ended in arrests.
Arrest is nothing compared to losing your medicine or losing family members.
Coronado was one of a handful of Arizona protesters arrested this afternoon. Klinkhammer said her medical conditions prevented her from risking arrest and time in jail. Senator Flake was on a plane back from Arizona when the protest was taking place. His office did release a statement in which he said that he is still considering the bill and it will rest on two factors. It has to be fiscally sustainable and it can't pull the rug out from people who already have coverage. Live in Washington, Emma Lockhart, Cronkite News.
Several Republican governors are sending pointed messages to their home state GOP representatives. They say the new health care proposal will take coverage away from thousands of their constituents. On CBS's Face the Nation, Senator John McCain said he doesn't have much faith in the bill.
My view is it's probably going to be dead, but I've been wrong. I thought I'd be president of the United States.
GOP senators unveiled their version of the health care bill last month. There was no vote before the 4th of July recess because it seems not enough Republicans supported the bill. Senators will be back in Washington this week, but several Republicans are still critical of the legislation.
Presenters at the National Council of La Raza conference say that while voter registration and turnout continue to increase in the Latino community, there is still more work to be done. Cronkite News reporter Holly Bernstein went to the NCLR conference to learn about a curriculum meant to increase voter registration in Arizona.
Ricardo J. Tello voted for the first time in the 2016 presidential election, shortly after he turned 18. He's the first generation in his family to vote and says he felt a lot of community pride.
Pride that I was one of the very few Latinos that actually got the opportunity to vote.
Tello was one of the speakers this weekend at the National Council of La Raza's workshop on Latino voting.
NCLR is helping people register to vote and is encouraging voter engagement.
Senior Civic Engagement Project Manager Janet Hernandez discussed a pilot program called the NCLR High School Democracy Project. The aim of the curriculum is to get high school Latino students who are turning 18 to think about voter registration, know who is running for office, and to learn more about the process.
There's approximately 1 million Latino citizen youth that are turning 18 years old every year, and they're citizens.
Hernandez also says that while millennials are the largest generation in the country, they also have one of the lowest voter registration rates in the United States. As part of the curriculum, schools held mock elections and registered voters through an app. The curriculum is currently implemented in 16 states and could soon be here in Arizona.
We have several affiliates that are part of the NCLR network that we're in conversations with right now so that they can use the curriculum, work with schools in the regions, work with their youth programs throughout the state.
Tello was able to register to vote through the curriculum, which was implemented in a school in Texas.
It just got me interested in the politics, that I could actually do a difference, that my vote would actually count.
In downtown Phoenix, Holly Bernstein, Cronkite News.
The second year of the curriculum kicks off in September. Hernandez says they're hoping to grow and implement the program in approximately 100 schools in about 25 states.
There's been a backlash from elected officials blocking people on social media like Twitter and Facebook. Here in Phoenix, many people found out last week that they've been blocked by Councilman Sal DiCiccio, and some are confused as to why.
I mean, honestly, my biggest initial reaction was complete shock. And then I was like, this is really not okay.
Lori Narrett lives in Phoenix Council District 6, Sal DiCiccio's district. She says she was recently blocked from his Twitter page.
I don't even know why, because I honestly never tweeted to or about him, ever.
It's becoming a more common practice for elected officials to block users on their social media accounts. Pew Research conducted a poll just before the presidential elections and found social media users feel political conversations are angrier, less respectful, and less civil than in other conversations.
Donald Trump has made blocking people on social media okay. Now, okay as the highest elected person probably in the world, but we still don't know the downstream effect because it's too new.
Political consultant Douglas Cole says he thinks if someone that is not DiCiccio's constituent is causing unnecessary distraction, then blocking is completely fine.
If these people that he has purportedly blocked are not his constituents, well, you know, that's a whole different story because he has a specific geographic area. If someone's harassing him from West Phoenix, North Phoenix, South Phoenix, you know, that's just noise, and I think he has every right to block them.
However, for a constituent, Narrett says it's frustrating.
But in a public capacity, you know, he was elected by and is paid by the residents of the city of Phoenix, of this district. And so we should have access to the information that he's sharing.
Cronkite News repeatedly reached out to Councilman DiCiccio's campaign manager and main office, but received no statement regarding this issue. Councilman DiCiccio isn't the only politician blocking constituents. Last Friday, Arizona Representative Paul Gosar announced on Facebook that he reserves the right to block constituents for, quote, crude language or distasteful discourse. The lawmaker argues that blocking disrespectful constituents does not violate their First Amendment rights. A disclaimer on his page that reads, quote, we reserve the right to hide or delete user comments, and, quote, commenting on my Facebook is a privilege, not a right. Gosar says citizens who want to lodge a formal complaint may do so by calling his office or writing a letter.
Responding to an ongoing debate about public records, Attorney General Mark Brnovich says elected officials have a duty to preserve communications related to public business, especially on their personal cell phones and social media. State law already defines communication as public records if sent via government-issued devices. Still, Brnovich says the law has its limits and that officials only owe, quote, a reasonable account of the official conduct, end quote. When it comes to leaving a mark, one athlete has done it on the court and in her community.
Coming up on Cronkite News, why the city of Phoenix is naming a street after a Phoenix Mercury player.
And an Arizona State University PhD student is researching whether Arizona heat is natural or caused by something else.
Fascinating. You know, sometimes I wish I wasn't so beloved. Can't you see? Little girl got a hold on me like wow. Baby, I'm howling for you.
It's literally one for the history books.
Enjoy. The Arizona Supreme Court has a new ruling regarding criminal defendants who claim insanity as a defense. Defendants must provide their health exams to the prosecutor. The ruling also says the disclosures should include defendants' statements about their pending charges. Although this is evidence for the prosecutors, they may only use the information to deny an insanity claim, not to prove guilt. Some say the ruling violates the Fifth Amendment, but the court unanimously disagreed, saying an insanity defense claim waives protection against self-incrimination.
A graduate from the University of Arizona was beaten to death by a group of men in Greece. Bakari Henderson was at a bar in Zakynthos with his friends on Friday when a man approached him and they began fighting. Henderson's family says the 22-year-old graduated from U of A in May and was working on releasing a fashion line. At least 2 people have been arrested and police are searching for more suspects. It isn't clear why they started fighting.
Valley philanthropist Louise Solheim died on Saturday at 99 years old. Cronkite News reporter Tyler Paley has more on her passing.
Tyler and Blakely, a sad time for the golf community as it mourns the loss of Louise Solheim. She's the matriarch of the Karsten Manufacturing Company, better known as Valley golf giant Ping. Her husband, Karsten Solheim, founded Ping in 1959, and the company is still owned and operated by the Solheim family. Louise leaves a powerful legacy behind in the Valley. In addition to playing a major role in creating Ping, she also was an integral part in establishing the Solheim Cup, a women's golf tournament played every other year between the United States and Europe. Her son and Ping CEO John Solheim issued a statement on his mother's passing saying, quote, "Our mother was a blessing to everyone in so many ways. She had a special quality that gave her the ability to bring a smile to everyone's face, and she handled every situation with grace. We looked to her for guidance in all aspects of our lives, and she always took great care to advise us, building our confidence to make our decisions ourselves. We will miss her dearly. Our entire family is at peace, knowing she's now in God's care." Louise and Karsten donated $2 million in 1988 to help fund the construction of Arizona State's current golf home, Karsten Golf Course in Tempe. In a statement to Cronkite News, ASU women's golf coach Missy Farkay said, quote, "The golf world lost a wonderful lady in Louise Solheim. My thoughts and prayers go out to the entire Solheim family." Solheim was also a longtime donor to the Cronkite School. In the broadcast center, Tyler Paley, Cronkite News.
Women are continuing to make history in sports. All-time WNBA leading scorer Diana Taurasi has played with the Phoenix Mercury for 14 seasons, the longest of any Mercury player. She has left lasting effects on her fans and community around her and doesn't plan on changing that anytime soon.
Diana Taurasi's basketball journey has taken her from Chino, California to Storrs, Connecticut to Phoenix. And now she says she has found a home in the desert.
It's a big deal being from Phoenix and representing the city and getting their support.
While she's won WNBA championships, gold medals, and MVP honors, Taurasi's legacy in the Valley goes beyond the basketball court.
Her game touches everybody in the city. You know, there's nobody in the city, I don't think, that doesn't know who Diana Taurasi is. Even if they're not a basketball fan, they know of Diana Taurasi.
She's a great personality. Phoenix people see what she's like off the court. She's one of the nicest people out there. She'd take the shirt off her back to give it to someone in need.
Assistant coach Todd Troxell who has coached Tarazi both in the States and on her team in Russia, has seen firsthand her impact both overseas and in the U.S.
She's never big time, ever, so she never big times people. She always makes them feel like important, and then for them, I mean, you see someone who's the best acting that way, I think shows a lot.
Tarazi broke the WNBA's career scoring mark last month, an accomplishment that was celebrated with a special Tarazi night at a recent Mercury game.
In honor of the WNBA's all-time leading scorer, Diana Taurasi, the Mercury brought out these furry friends to honor the GOAT, otherwise known as the greatest of all time.
She is the greatest professional sports athlete that we've ever had here in the city of Phoenix. That's Diana Taurasi.
Taurasi is currently under contract with the Mercury through 2020. In Phoenix, Sarah Haddis, Cronkite News.
The city celebrated Taurasi's accomplishment by renaming part of First Street 7489 Taurasi Way and a ceremonial first pitch at a Diamondbacks game last week.
And if you wonder why the valley is so hot, someone may have an answer for you.
Coming up on Cronkite News, why this ASU researcher went up in the air to learn about the extreme valley temperatures.
And we are looking at a chance of thunderstorms each and every day in the week ahead. Coming up in your full 7-day forecast, which day is most likely to bring some of that monsoon weather?
Heaven knows you're a dreamer. Don't hide it from anyone. Don't hide it from anyone. Hey, would you believe me if I said we are here for a reason now? This is our life. This is what counts. This is for us. I will go anywhere for you.
Rain is helping firefighters working on the Burrow wildfire, but it's creating unsafe conditions for the crews. Fire officials say a monsoon hit the fire in the Santa Catalina Mountains with more than an inch of rain, but flooding and lightning caused them to stop their work. And just north of the Burrow fire is the Roach fire in Dudleyville. The fire destroyed 10 buildings and 3 homes along the San Pedro River. This southern Arizona wildfire has burned half a square mile. At last check, fire officials say it's over 60% contained. Utilities are working to restore electricity and natural gas services while fire crews continue to monitor their fire and put out hotspots.
Looking ahead this week, we might be seeing near normal temperatures, but it's only a break from the record high temperatures we've been hitting and setting through the better part of this summer. One ASU scientist is taking a look at how the heat gets trapped in urban areas. Emily Bloom shows us what he's studying and how it could impact weather forecasting.
Well, one ASU student is researching our urban heat island with hopes of a slightly cooler future.
Peter Crank, a PhD student at ASU, describes to us exactly how it feels to be researching the urban heat through our Phoenix summer.
Our goal with this research is to help us better understand the relationship here in Phoenix specifically between the surface temperatures in the urban areas and the air temperature.
Through this, he is hoping to better understand how urban heat flows, how all factors relate to each other, and the magnitude of each.
If all goes well, we will understand the relationships between the different aspects of urban areas, buildings, energy consumption, cars, people.
And part of the data collection included taking to the skies for thermal imagery data.
We could see that there are major issues with the way that we are designing our cities, and that if we were to redesign and restructure, that would have a drastic impact.
This will hopefully help us create a way to live in the desert that is a bit more comfortable, sustainable, and affordable as our city continues to grow.
It may be that we find that no one change that we could make in the urban area is going to have much of an impact. But if we make small changes across a variety of different factors, that collectively they could result in a significant change for the urban heat island.
Mary Wright, who studies biometeorology as it affects humans, helped collect data.
I think it's important that we just better understand what's going on with all that so that we can address it and make some changes.
And as soon as they have a better understanding, they look forward to teaching others.
The best thing about this is simply the ability to understand the environment around us, to better understand how the atmosphere, nature, all of that work together, and how we as humans are a piece of that. We're not disconnected necessarily from that, but we are an integral part of it.
Working to clean up all of the data and is hoping to present some of it this November. If all goes as planned, he will conduct the same research on a much bigger scale next summer. Now today we're dealing with heat and humidity, and of course we know that at this time of year, if we're getting humidity, we're also getting storms. Taking a look across the state, we have got 109 in Lake Havasu, 102 down in Tucson, 83 at the Grand Canyon, and 84 in Show Low. Across the valley, we are still sitting in those triple digits. However, as we head into the later hours tonight, we can expect to drop into the mid to high 90s around 11 p.m. Now, our high today of 109 degrees, still a couple degrees above that seasonal average of 107. And taking a look at our satellite radar, we can see all of that activity across our state and surrounding our state. Now, this area of high pressure, that is going to be moving in and sitting over the Great Basin. That is going to be keeping our temperatures right around average for this time of year. Now, what that means for your week ahead is that we will stay below that 110 mark through the foreseeable future. We've got a chance for thunderstorms each and every day in the week ahead. Tuesday and Wednesday, we're looking at a 10% chance. Thursday and Friday will bounce up to a 20% chance, and you are looking at a 30% chance for that monsoon weather this weekend. For Cronkite Weather, I'm Emily Bloom.
It takes a lot of practice and a lot of passion to excel at any sport.
But when players get serious injuries, it tends to be the end of their athletic career. Coming up on Cronkite News, how this athlete is using his challenges to stay on the track.
Heaven knows you're a dreamer. Don't hide it from anyone. Don't hide it from anyone. Would you believe me if I said we are here for a reason now? This is our life. This is what counts. This is for us. I will go anywhere for you.
For most athletes, losing a leg is a career-ending obstacle. But for one sprinter, it opened the door to record-breaking performances and Olympic appearances. Cronkite News reporter Andy Krause found out what propelled one athlete beyond the barrier that holds back so many others.
Many parathletes come from an athletic background before their disability alters the way they can compete forever. But few of them have bounced back and achieved success in Paralympic competition as quickly as sprinter Jared Wallace has. Wallace received an athletic scholarship to run at the University of Georgia before a severe case of compartment syndrome below his right knee led him to opt for amputation when he was 20 years old.
Made a decision that was a tough one, but ultimately was the best decision to have my leg amputated, and you know, no pun intended, hit the ground running, and you know, recovered really quickly. Probably about 6 weeks from amputation, I was walking, and 3 months after amputation, I was running again.
Jared's desire to be faster than anyone else is a big part of why he's already won 2 World Championship gold medals and broken 4 world records in the sprints. He is also a 2-time U.S. Olympian.
The day I made the decision to have my leg amputated, I researched and Googled the world record list for Paralympic sport, and I pointed to the screen, called my parents in and said, I'm going to be on this list. And, you know, it was just always, you know, my nature to dream big and to set big goals for myself.
That's a quality that has really helped Jared in furthering his cause off the track. Before his competitive days are over, he wants to prove that disabled athletes have the same capabilities as their able-bodied counterparts.
If you put Jared on a football field, he'd run faster than a lot of the guys who play professional football in the NFL. And that's just, you look at his times, I mean, that's a fact. And he's just an exceptional athlete.
You know, my identity is not defined by the fact that I have a prosthetic, and, you know, other people's identities are not defined by, you know, losing an arm or because they're in a wheelchair. You know, it doesn't change who you are.
After taking gold at the U.S. Paralympics Track and Field National Championships in the 100 meters at the beginning of June, Wallace will go for his 3rd gold medal at the World Championships in mid-July. In Los Angeles, Andy Krause, Cronkite News.
Wallace is an ambassador for Shamrock Prosthetics, a company which helps amputees rebound after their surgery.
Cronkite News is proud to be the news division of Arizona PBS. Here's what's coming up on Arizona Horizon and the PBS NewsHour.
On the next Arizona Horizon, a look at what some are calling the Trump bump, the impact of the Trump presidency on the economy. And the dean of the new Mayo Clinic School of Medicine joins us to discuss the school's first day of class.
I'm Judy Woodruff on the next NewsHour, Inside Putin's Russia, a special week-long series on the rise and challenges of the U.S.'s longest-lasting adversary. That's Monday on the PBS NewsHour.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us.
For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.